Hello, this is my presentation on why I feel that college athletes should be paid. College athletes are student athletes that play sports for a certain university, and I feel that they deserve compensation. I have my certain reasons why I feel like universities should pay their own students, being that colleges make money off of these students. Coaches make more money than anybody in these colleges. The students' lives are affected greatly, and the NCAA reigns over them completely. So first we'll start off with colleges and the money they can take in. So the NCAA, our National Collegiate Association, is a non-athletic, non-profit organization which regulates athletes of over 1,200 North American institutions and conferences. This is taken directly from the NCAA website. This industry is an $11 billion sports athletic industry, and they received last year over $1 billion. So they received this through marketing fees, championship events, and investments they make. So one part of this industry is the University of Texas, the Longhorns, so which in 2018 made $219 million. And this is the most a college athletic program has ever made in the history of college sports. So now that we're looking at the college history, we can focus more on the main source of its income, college football, but specifically the coaches for college football. So we'll start back in 1800s to 1888. Walter Camp, he was a coach for Yale's football team. He was also a student that played for the football team, and throughout history he's been referred to as the father of football. So as his time coaching, he received a small salary, and that's a small salary that he couldn't even live off of. He lived off of his money that he received from being an author. And we can even we'll look now to today. Nick Saban, who's the main coach for the University of Alabama, and in 2017 he was the highest paid university coach in history, and well, even to this day, because in 2017 he signed a contract for $11 million with a $4.0 million bonus. And it makes you really think what a coach really is and what is he worth. So I'll talk about what I learned from my third grade coach. He would always tell us, I'm not here for me. I don't get paid for this. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for the players. And he would always say, win or lose, I coach for this game, I coach for this sport, because he loved the sport. That's what he was doing it for. So comparing a third grade football coach to Nick Saban is pretty outlandish, but I really think it's more about the principle that stands. So now that we're talking about the college, let's actually start talking about the student athletes. So according to the Goal and Score study, 2014, they deduced that the average Division I student athlete would be playing a 45-hour work week that they would devote to that sport. So this doesn't make any sense because the NCAA has a 20-hour rule where student athletes aren't allowed to devote more than 20 hours to that sport for playing time. But the way they work around this is that they don't include any time for extra activities, like time for plays where they're inside, or there's time for recuperation after sports injuries, or just physical therapy. So this it's really kind of unfair, because this 45-hour work week really sounds like more of a job to me, and you're gonna put that on top of the grades that they have to keep up. So it really just takes its time, and it has a ton of negative effects that you can see from these graphs that I put in the presentation. So we're actually going to focus now on the college athletes' academics. So a big argument that the other side of this argument has to say is that they're going to go pro, so they don't have to worry about sports. They shouldn't get paid. But they don't realize that less than 2% of athletes actually go professional, NBA or NFL, anything like that. And they have to focus more on that, but also that there's students that are still dropping out. So there's even less than that. Like, the chances of actually going pro are just insane. So you could see that. So the amount of time that goes into this sport, it takes away from students' time for academics. So they're more of a worker than a student in general. And then you can see this because students will actually take time to go to different states for football games. They'll be missing classes for weeks and overall throughout the year, which is okay with the NCAA, but as well as the university, but not so much the students. So we can look at Devin Ramsey, who in 2014 was kicked off the football team as well as the school for cheating, even though he was getting help from an academic advisor since he didn't have enough time to study. He actually went out and said that he was deprived of a meaningful education at his time of the University of North Carolina. So you can see that the NCAA has a very big involvement inside of these students' lives. So they have many regulations that work. So they actually say that because of the NCAA, students aren't allowed to have jobs. They're not allowed to have jobs without permission from the NCAA as well as the university, which if they wanted to make their own money, there's also regulations from the NCAA saying that they are not allowed to sign anything for the autograph and make money off of it. So they don't really have that much freedom. So you can see back in 2014, Todd Gurley, he was a defensive back for the University of Georgia, who made $400 off an autograph and ended up being suspended and really hindered his whole career. He only made $3,000 in that 2-year span, which is much less than minimum wage if he's really asking for money. So overall, you can see that colleges are making money off these students, coaches are making money off these students, and these students have to really work hard or they fail. They fail completely. And as long as these follow these constricting rules by the NCAA, they should be fine. But really, everyone's making money except the students. And I really want you to think that if this was your family or your child, would it seem fair that they're not compensated for the hard work that they're putting in? Thank you.